welcome to the session. Thanks, Christina. Yeah, so with agentic AI in the air, automation will never be the same again. And really, this session is to embrace about the transformation using UiPath apps. So before we kickstart the main agenda, I'd like to invite Christina, who will give some highlights about the forward and can help you understand and see where you can have all the updates from the forward as well. So, Christina, thank you for joining and giving your time. Over to you.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be in the Dubai chapter meetups again. Hoping our chapter will grow stronger and bigger by every session we make. And we're certainly going to grow in the region pretty soon. Just to give you a bit of news, maybe about Forward. As you know, Forward is the biggest UiPath event across the year. Also the one which has the most concentration of UiPath technology news and updates. So it's the our let's say flagship event when we show to the world and release all our new features and new products. So, of course, this year it was all about agentic AI and our proposed launch for agentic AI. And the event just finished last week in Las Vegas. It grew by a day this year, so it was pretty long. It also included days exclusively for automation developers. The TechEd Park was exclusively dedicated to the automation developers. And I would invite you all, if you want to hear the news about agenting and see the latest UiPath releases, you are free now to watch for it for free. You just have to register, and you can even watch the keynotes by our CEO and our Chief Product Officer with all the latest news and the products that are launched and that are going to be launched very soon by UiPath. So I'm going to share with you all the link for the forward recordings, and hopefully you will check it out and let us have some feedback. It's very interesting. There is certainly a load of content there, so you have to pick and choose your games and your subjects of interest. But there's no better source of content, at least for the upcoming months, than the sessions that have been delivered live in Las Vegas last week from UiPath. Thank you, lovely. I think this is good, and I hope everyone will decide to click and check out the recordings from Forward.
Thank you, Christina. It is very very helpful, and I be assured that we are going to have any other meetups related to the similar topic very soon. And in this call today, I believe that every participant will have a clear understanding of how to create a simple apps and integrate them with their automation workflows. So before I take or go to the next agenda, I'd like to invite the speaker, Arvind, who's UiPath MVP and the managing director of the Pro Inception. Along with Arvind, we also have Ravi Shankar Pesupati. He is a CEO, Middle East, Southeast Asia, and Europe at Venza International Information Technology Company. Will be giving us insights on the automation and the key areas. So let's start with the first agenda. Arvind, over to you, and really thankful for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, lovely. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining the calls and taking your time to join our meetups. So my name is Arvind, and I'm Managing Director of Pro Inception. I'm working as a kind of we are working in the RPA and low-code industry since last 15 years. So yeah, I'm a UiPath MVP, and I will take you through the UiPath apps, latest features, how we can work on the UiPath apps, and all the things. So before we start with the actual UiPath apps, may I know like how many people have gone through UiPath apps, or do you have any idea? I want to just listen yes or no something, so I can see have you gone through. Anyone here? Maybe you can raise your hand if no problem. Okay. Let's talk about UiPath apps, why we need UiPath apps, what is UiPath apps, and then we'll see what is the AI features enabled into UiPath apps and how we can integrate UiPath apps with external systems like integration service, or you can say data service, and then we can create some basic flow. Okay. So UiPath Apps is a cloud-first low-code application development platforms that enables automation developer to build, share, enterprise, create, engaging automation experience. That means like in UiPath Apps, what you can do, you can drag and drop, and you can write the rules user-friendly. You can write a VB expressions the way you are writing into your studio and day-to-day automations in UiPath, and you can usually deploy the solution, you can share the solution, and then people can go and capture the data and start the boards, or you can say start saving the data into your backend systems. So UiPath apps, it like why it was needed, maybe we'll talk about that later. So low code plus integration and automation. So if you talk about the end users, device, apps, integration and automation, and then system. So you have apps, it's like a kind of, it supports for the web application and then mobile applications. What you need to do, you need to go and just take the URL, and then you can go and just run it on your browsers, either in your local machine or in your, you can say, mobile application, and you can just work on that. So UiPath apps is a kind of the front end layer into UiPath, which covers like you can integrate with UiPath apps with the robots and process, and then you can integrate with the data service where you can store your application data, and then you can integrate with the integration service, or you can say storage buckets, and then you can play around those. So earlier, if you talked about UiPath, they were mostly working with the kind of robotic process automations, and it was one of the key challenge, like people comes and then apart from the robotic process automation example, they have a kind of a front end where they want to capture the data and they want to go with certain approval systems. So in that way, like customer has to go and buy another tools, or they do have to do like a certain development to meet that criteria, right, and meet the business requirements. So in order to fulfill the gap, UiPath apps is the one of the key factors where you can build your application, you can connect your apps with the robots, or you can say external system, and you can work on that. So it works like you can connect with API and all those things as well through integration service. So end users could be like a sales and services, account, HR, and XYZ, right? And then that's what I was talking. Devices, it support all the devices, whether it's phones, PC, or VDI, or any SaaS applications. And then you can build your application in day to day. Like if you talk about the any company, they have like HR management, lead management. So those kind of application you can just build on and into your apps, and then you can connect with your external system and robots where you have to feed the data from users to the another system, right? And you can do that, and then it integrate and automate. So it's a kind of a robotless integration. So you can just go and you can integrate with integration service, and then integration service will, you have a n number of connectors, and those connectors like whether it is CRM or Outlook or Microsoft or any connectors, right? And you can just go and connect with those systems, and then apps connect with unattended and attended both fashions, right? And then you can connect with queues, and then you can easily add the data into queue and transactions, and then you can, based on that, you can run your API, or all the automation side. So that's what it is talking. How to use, you can go and simply build an apps, drag and drop, and then you can go into App Studio, and then you can, in App Studio, what you need to do, go to cloudyourpath.com, and then your tenant names, and then apps, and then you can start creating your apps. This, however, this supports into automation suite also, but automation suite is kind of things like where you will not get incremental update, so you will have to force your update by manually. So this is something we are talking about the cloud, right? And then you can engage users, reach user experience, you can build user experience, and you can do that. Let's talk about UiPath Autopilot, and we talk about like how developer, tester, business analyst, and everyone. So this is something like when we talk about the UiPath Autopilot. So UiPath Apps Autopilot is something where you can go and just type your descriptive language, and then in the background we have already AI, generative AI, and everything where you can create your application, and then you can build your application. You can generate by default. So it works for developer, tester, business analyst, and everyone. So autopilot for apps, we'll talk generate your apps. We'll see how it works. So before spending a lot of time for designing your apps, now what you can do, you can by default it creates the entity schema, and then before you have to create manually your schema and then go and add bindings and everything. But now after that, what happened? The moment you generate through autopilots, it creates your backend, it creates your all the rules, and you can just go and fix some minor errors and write your business rules, and you can start using that. Okay, let's go and see that, I mean, the actual world, how it works. Any questions before we move into the demo? Anyone? Any questions here? Okay, lot of lot of good.
There are some queries from Morgan, but I think we'll take it up in the Q&A, Arvind. It's a specific question, so we can take it up in the Q&A. But others, if you have any questions specific to the apps related, feel free to ping in the chat, and we'll definitely respond on those queries.
Cool. So then let's go to the cloud. So what you can do, you can go to cloud.uipath.com, and then now you can see we have already clouds, and then you need to enable your tenants and everything. So what you can do, go to your apps, and that's what I was talking. Go to this tenant name and then apps, and then what you need to do, you need to create your apps here, right? So how you can do, you can like, this is something which we were talking about autopilot. So what you can do, you can create the apps through autopilot. I mean, then it generates your entity, whether you can create from PDF, image, or you can create from the descriptive language. Or what you can do, you can create a specific entity from your apps, and then you can generate as well. But let's see, we will see this one at the end, how we will go and we'll see that. Let's say we want to build an application, something called leave request application. So what we have to do first, let's go to data service. And in data service, what you can see, maybe I have already, maybe would have written. Just a second. So let's say I have already leave request entity. And in entity, I have created some kind of fields, action by start date, end date, leave titles, and everything, right? And then we have data. So we have already there. So let's go here and build an application. Before building an application, we'll talk about the all the controls, components, and everything. So how you can build, you can go and create a new app, and then what you need to do, give the names. Let's say EMEA leave request, and then the moment you say create, it will go and create an application interface. Then here, what you have different templates. So what you can do, you can select a templates if you are starting from the beginning, or if you want to create a your fresh template, you create a blank page. So let's say create a blank page, and then I'm just creating a blank page here. So now what I want to do, I want to build a kind of a nice home page, and then application forms and everything. So what we have do, what we have right now, we'll talk about all the controls. So we have page, import page from files, controls, entity, connections, process, storage bucket, queue, actions, variables, and media. So you can see here you have a lot of controls. I mean, you have input controls. Input controls is nothing. It's like where you just input the forms, fill the forms. So you have a different type of input controls, button, checkbox. I mean, you have some event controls also here, like you can clickable events like buttons and all. And then you can design your page as you want. And then you have something called display. I mean, if you want to display the records, more than one records, or if you want to work on something like display some documents and all those things. You can work on that. So you have a custom list, dividers, document viewer, edit, create, and different controls, which is already provided by you can say UiPath. And then we have a validation control. Validation control is something we are going to use into Action Center just to validate any documents for the document understanding or anything. Then we have containers. You can go place the containers and you can design your layouts, and you have page containers. And I mean, you design a page once and call the page at multiple times. So what you can do, you can use page containers and you can call the page inside that container. And then you have out of box different icons. By using these icons, you can, I mean, design your logo, I mean, icons and everything. You can add on the buttons and everything. So let's see here. I want to design a kind of home page. So what you can do, you can go to controls and then you can say go to containers, and then I can just drag and drop, right? And then you can just go to styles and change your background colors, something like that, right? It's so easy. And then what you need to do, you need to go to display, and suppose you want to change the image, or maybe if you want to put something like a titles of this page. So you can just go and drag and drop, and then in general you can go here and you can change. So I'm saying EMEA LR, and then what you need to do, if you want to do some stylings and everything, so you can just go and change this styles, make the font, and you can say 28 pixels, and then if you want to put into middle or something like that. So yeah, so like that's how you can create your leave request application. Now suppose I want to build this application, I want to display the number of, you can say, all the requests submitted. So what I can do, I can go to add a controls here, and in the controls I can say go and add a table controls, and I just drag and drop the table controls. Now we'll talk about this one. So what we have a tooltip, data source, and then all the display features and everything. So data source is something where you can go and build your expression, I mean query builder, and you can just bring the data. So you can get it from the app variables, or you can get it from the process, or you can build it at expression editors, and expression editor you can go and create it and you can build it. Either what you can do, you can go into you can say you can go to query builder, and then you can select your entity. So right now if you see, I don't have any entity. So what you need to do, you need to go and create a kind of a create a connection between your entities. So the moment you go and select entity here, you can select your tenant, and then you go to tenant, and then let me go to leave request here, and I can say leave request, and then add it. So now I have a leave request. Now what I can do, I can go to data source, I can go in query builder, and just in query builder, what you need to do, you need to select leave request entity name. And then once you go to entity, it will auto generate everything. So what you need to do, you can go and delete some of the columns based on your requirement, right? And then you can design your page as you want to build it. Now if I just go and preview this application, cool. So now you can go and see, I have just built up in a home page in 5 minutes, and now you can see all the data which is coming from the data service, and you can see all the record which is, I mean, all the columns and everything, and you can filter out based on that your requirement. Okay. So now suppose I want to create a new request. How can I do that? Maybe what you can do, you can just go here and say control, and then I want to say I want to I want to open a new page. I want to add a button here, and then I say new leave request. And then I can say I want to add an icon to this. Go and select icon, and I can say add. So this becomes new request, and then you can change the background colors and everything. Right? Let's go and change. Okay. So now if I want to open another page on this click, what you can do, now you have one more thing, you can generate the page also, import page, or maybe import page from file. Okay, this is going to be another things. So now I want to create another page for the leave request. So what I can do, I can go here and say page, and then I can generate the page. Either you can create the page. So I want to generate a page from the leave request entity, and this is how AI is going to work, like autopilot. So I can say here leave request. See a leave request. So you can, the moment you select entity, it will give you all the list of entities. So what you can do, you can just go and select it. And then what you need to do, build a page from leave request to submit data. I'm not going to select this create entity will be disabled because you are already generating the page from the leave request. So now I can go and say send. So the moment you send, this is going to run some AI into background, and then it will create a page, nice page. Let's see how it works. Okay. So now you can see everything has been generated from the autopilot. So I have not created any page. I'm just going and using autopilots and just select the entity. And by selecting the entity, I'm just generating a page. And then that's what I was talking. The moment you generate through autopilot, it will generate a page, and then all the rules will be getting binded here. So now you can see everything has been binded, all the rules and everything. Now if I go to submit buttons, right? If I go and see here, submit button, edit rules, now you can see all the rules have been binded, all the expression has been binded, so you don't have to do anything. Otherwise, what you need to do, you need to go and manually write everything, design the page, and then on the submit, you have to write the rules. So in that case, you can design also. And now if you suppose you want to change the background colors or anything, you can go and change the background color of this page, or you can say the containers, right? So you can go and change now. So let me go here and I say change this. So this is what you can do. I mean, then you can go and change, you can apply some styles and everything. Now, if I go to main page and say new leave request, and I go and say add event. So here you have different rules. I mean, these rules works completely on the pseudo methodology. I mean, you can go and set the value, show the message, open a page, or close, open pop-up, open URLs. So you can do a lot of things here. And then you have create entity records, update entity, delete entity, start process. So these all rules you can use to work into apps. So you can add an item into queue, or you can upload a file into a storage bucket, or you can download a file from a storage bucket. So let's say I want to say open a page. So what you need to do, go and open a page. You have list of page here, and then you just need to select, right? And then you can say whether you want to open in a pop-up or you want to open in a full model queue, right? So if you want to open in a pop-up over, you can say true or false, right? So right now I'm just giving false, and then open this one. And then the moment I say here, now let it run. Before, while page is running, I'm going here and I'm writing one more buttons here just to come back. So I can say cancel, and I can say this itself. This page is a horizontal, I can put horizontal, and I can. And then I can just name this one as a cancel button. And then I can go into a style and can change the styles like a cancel, a stop. And then the events again, I can write a rules, open a page, and go back to the previous page, I mean main page. And then again, I run this application. So let it run. So now you can see the apps has been developed, and then you have a dashboard. You are displaying all the records. You can apply filters and everything you can build. The moment you say new leave request, it opens another page. So it's opening another page. What is happening? Leave request and so I can say let's have prevent conflict. So let it run. We'll see how it runs. So now if I say and click new leave request, so this is opening another page here under forms, right? And in these forms, what you can do, you can go and capture all the details and then you can submit it or you can cancel it. The moment you cancel it, it goes back. So here in the leave request, you can say right now it's a pop-up, right? So I don't want to go to the page. I can just go and disable it and say close pop-up over bottom sheet. I mean, this will close the pop-up itself. So rather than going back to the another page. So let's go and see. So what you can do, you can fill all the see here. By default, all the, drop down also got selected through. So let it run 1 second. So now if I go here and I click new leave request, okay, so it opens the pop-up and then you can see all the controls and then date controls becomes date controls, date and time, and then you can just capture it and then you can see here all the relationship which is lookups. It got created as a drop down and you can go and select as a public holiday or anything and then how many days you are on leave, and then if you submit it, it's just go and submit because it's not extended date, extended not in date and time and format, very extended. Okay. Okay, this got created. So now if I go back and if I just go and refresh it, you will see the record here, 32. So this is all coming from the data service, right? Now you can write your business rules, you can write your complexity, you can do some certain validations, you can write the validation. So suppose if you have some start date or end date, I mean, if you want to write some required fields or not, you can make it true and false. If you want to make max date, min date, you can set that value also. If it is required, you can make it as a true value here. And then what you need to do, you need to validate here on this submit button whether it works or not. Now we'll see other integrations. Like if you go here, entity connections. Connection is nothing, it's a kind of integration service. So we'll see one by one. So let's go to the kind of process. Process you can just call as a, if you have any process, you can just go and call in your process. Like I have something called product feedback emails, right? So I can just go and call this. And then in this one, the moment you add a process, you can see here process tabs, and then you have see input and output property. And then if you want to call that process anywhere, you can just call that process, and then you can send the data, whether it is in a kind of one second, let me show you. So suppose I want to say I want to add call a process. Say process, and then you go to events, and then you can to rules, and then you can say start a process, and then the moment you say start process, you can go and select the process. And then you can run whether it's synchronous, whether attended or unattended mode, right? And then you can pass all the input property, and then you can select all the input property from here. So you can go here, select feedback, and then you can map it from the input. You can say text control. So you can go to your controls, and you can say like tables or anything, right? And you can just add it from there. And then you have target, you can just specify how it runs, and then you can say which machine also. We also have new features. And then when it started, you can show message, and when suspended, completed, you can navigate to another page, or you can display if any errors occurs, you can display a message, or you can go to the another page. This is how you can call the process. So similarly, you have a lot of other things like a storage bucket, queue, actions, variables, and then media. So let's go and talk about a little bit about variables. What is the variable? Variable is something like where you can create a variable and you can hold the process. The process, I mean, the variable get initialized during the once you load the page apps, and then it get destroyed when you close the application. So let's say I want to store something like you can say request, and then you have different type of kind of variables. So you can create a apps file. Apps file is nothing, it's a kind of like you can store the files type. You have array, then you have a choice set, then you have a data tables, date and times, and n number of types of, you can say, variables you have. And one thing you have noticed here, there are leave request and leave type. What is this exactly? The moment you add any entity, I mean any type of entity. Let's go to entity, and if you want to add one more entity here, suppose I wanted to add area. And now if you go to variables and say area test, now if you go back, you can see here area. So the moment you add any entity into application, it also create a variable types. That means what you can do, you can hold a list of records with that entity. So in that way, what you need to do you need to define what exactly this is. So you need to define list source. And list source is nothing, it's a kind of store the list of records from that particular source of, and then what you can do, you can store, you can define the numbers. So like say leave request. So basically in this one, I can say leave, you can say PR leave request. And then it store, it hold the data. It doesn't mean it hold the data, it's a kind of only definition. So you know in .NET and everything how it works. So you are just defining a definition. So now I have defined the definition. Now what I need to do, I want to call and I want to store all the data inside that. So what you need to do, you need to go on the main page, load, and you can do anywhere. You can do set value, and in the set value, what you can do, like I want to set the variables, then I can say VR leave request, and then how you can set, you need to go to query builder, and then you can say leave request. Now you can see I have just say fetch and then everything. So it just go and store everything. Now if I want to kind of, I want to show how many counts are there, right? Total count. So what you can do here, let's say I want to go here on the labels and I want to show the count. So I can go and say labels, and I can say total request, and then I can say here we are leave request dot, you can see here there are total record. This total records is nothing, it's coming from the server side, so you can do total records dot to extra. Now you can see it will give you total request and concatenate with that number. So let me give some space between that. So okay, so now if I go here and if I just run this application, now you can see the total count will come there. So let it run. See here, now it's coming total request 89. And to verify what you can do, you can just go here to data service. And in data service, I can say leave request. So if I say here, I say leave request, how many count is there? Total 89. Right, so you can write your expression, you can do a number of things. Suppose if you want to do something else, if you don't want to display total records, I want to display the based on the kind of data, right? So you can say leave request dot data dot, you can say, you can write here, right, count, or you can say distinct, or you can write equal to first, or so many things are there. So you just need to get aware about that, and you can write a number of your VV expression, and you can inspect that, and you can bring a lot of business logics here. Okay, then apart from that, you have something called a storage bucket, and then cube. So you can just go and select a storage bucket, and suppose I have a storage bucket, you can just go and select a storage bucket and you can store that. So again, it also kind of a component where you can just integrate easily with UiPath apps. Now suppose I have to call process from the a low code application from the other side, it is very hard right, because you have to define, you have to call the REST API and all those things, and then you have to develop the application. But in the UiPath apps, you can easily go and call the seamless application on the same tenants, and you can do everything here. So now let me go and talk a last one, maybe you can say connection. So in the connection, what you can do, you can go to connections and you can build your connections like for the any integration service. Let me see if I have any connections here. So if I go to integration service, so I have already some connections. Okay, I have some Gmail and Microsoft Dynamic 365. It's already expired, but let me show you. So now if I go here and I want to add a connection, so I say connection, and then the moment you add a connection, Microsoft, so you can say CRM, right? Microsoft Dynamic 365 CRM. So you need to add the connection, what you want to run. So I just added my connection and then say add, right? The moment I say add my connections, it will create a kind of left here. You can see all these connections and everything. Now you will see unique things. Now if you go to main page and suppose you go to call process and go to event rules. Now if I want to add a rules, now you can see there are one more rule, that is something called for Microsoft Dynamic 365, right? So the moment you add any integration into app, this creates a kind of a rules, and those rules are nothing. It's a kind of completely a postman. You can say like a post method or get method of your REST API. So suppose in your this particular connections, if you have a number of method, and that each kind of consumable, or you can just post the data, right? So then it will create a kind of a methods, and you can say rules. So now if you go here and I want to say I want to go and add the record, so I can see here these all are kind of a object inside of dynamic CRM. So now you can say create contact, and then inside create contact, let it call. So now you can see these alls are defined from the, you can say CRM, not from the UiPath apps or integration service. And then you can pass those value, and you can write like suppose last name, you can just go and pass this value from your any of the controls, or you can just pass it from hard code, or you can write your expression, you can get it from the, you can say variables also, where we are dot, you can say data or something, you can get total records or something like that, right? And then you can pass it, right? And this is what you can do. And then the moment you save it, it create a connection, it goes into your external systems, and you can store the data from external system. Similarly, you can get the data also from the external system. So suppose I want to get the data into list, right? So what you can do, you can go to your controls, and I can say I have a display control for custom list, and then I want to get it from the CRM. So what you can do is go to Query Builder, and then in Query Builder you will see here Microsoft Dynamic 365 CRM. And the moment you select that object, it will give you list method, all the list method. So whatever object is returning as a list method, you can see here. So now you can go and select a list accounts, and then you can easily connect with that particular system, and then you can write order by where or clause, like you can write on which one, right? You can write your where conditions, page size, fields, next page, and everything. So this is what you can do. I mean, you can integrate easily with external system by using integration service, or in integration service you can write your own API, and you can define all the Swagger definition, and again you can create your object and you can call that, right? So this is what all about. I mean, I can say about the apps, where you have build your apps, you can different applications, connect with your process, connect with your storage bucket, cubes, integration service, external systems, and everything. Yeah, that's it. Maybe I think from my end, we'll talk about more on the questions, and I will
Yeah,
know.
Arvind, I think there are 5 questions, open questions. Maybe we'll take the questions if you can quickly wrap up. Then we can go with another topic, if that's okay.
Let me see what are the questions.
Yeah. Do you want me to iterate, or it's in there in the?
Where are the questions? 1 second. What is it? Will there be a QA? I have a specific question about apps. I don't understand what does it mean.
No, the question is from Asif. On the login page, how can I ensure that password input field mask the entered text so it remains hidden from view for security purpose?
So that what you can do in HTML control, you have in apps like HTML control. So what you can do in HTML control, you can build a kind of a custom control, and in the custom control you can do that. Right now there is no masking direct password protection, you can say controls available, but either you can build through the HTML control, or what you can do, what we have done, like you have to go to the certain specific number, and you have to, I mean, it's a kind of again a trial and all those things. So the moment you add, replace that, store that value, and then mask that as a star. So that's what we are doing. So either you can best things you can build through you can say custom HTML control, or you can just on the enter of the text, you can just store into some place, and then you can all mask everything star star. That's what you can do, and then in the background you can do validation based on your storage value.
Asif, hope your question was answered. So another question from Morgan.
Okay, I have an app take the information when a button is pushed and start unattended process. The process has out argument that is data table. I cannot seems to get the data table to display within app. Yep, this is the this doesn't support right now. You cannot. I mean, I think there is a limitations. Which table are you using? A tables or you are using edit controls? Which controls you are using, Morgan?
Morgan, if you can unmute or you can answer this in the chat.
Pushing the data table with data source in the out argument. And out argument is the data table, right? So because once your out argument is data table, then you can bind with your data source and it should display with tables. We have used it. If you are still not able to use, just ping me separately. I will see and you can help you out. Okay.
I'll share the LinkedIn profile again. So we have another question from Bhanu. How the data pulling in from DB, how the UiPath is taking to API that is pulling the data.
How the data pulling from the DB, how you are taking API pulling. I mean, DB, are you talking about SQLs or something else?
Manu, if you would like to answer. Okay. We'll wait for your response. Meanwhile, I think you can take another question. Arvind.
How to refresh the data table without refreshing the browser entity records being updated on other boards? Okay, see, it's a kind of you don't need to refresh your browser. What you need to do, you need to just reset your controls. Then automatically it will come. So the moment you are on your browser and you just added anything, suppose you added submit records, and then on submit click, what you do reset of your particular control. Then automatically you will see the number of counts. So I mean, I'm saying suppose you are adding on page load two variables and then on submit you added a record and you want to see the latest record. So what you need to do, you need to do set variables. That's it. You are not going to do refresh and everything because it's a very much a kind of intuitive, I mean the latest technology. So you can just go and refresh on your click itself. So you don't need to do browser refresh or anything. You just need to reset your control. That's it. In
GK, regarding your query on Academy, we'll definitely give a feedback on this part. At the moment, we cannot comment on the Academy course, but we'll definitely provide this feedback and to the concerned team. So Arvind, there's another question. Is there any option to refresh the grid alone instead of page refresh? This is from Sharaz.
Same things I said, like I think Ashok question. So you need to reset your grid. So the moment you said just reset, I mean reset is nothing. I mean just reset the value. Either you can say like suppose you have an employee, then get employee. That's it. Then it will work. You don't need to refresh the whole page. How the data is pulling from the DB still, I'm not sure. Okay.
Another question from Akib. Is there any connector to connect SQL?
No, right now we don't have, but it is in the pipeline. You can do right now through the process. You can build your process and create a connections, and then you can do that. Any questions else, or think looks like all sorted?
Yeah, I think it's every questions have been answered. Okay, we still have time, so feel free to post your queries. Now we'll go with the second part of the agenda. Where I like to invite Ravi. So Arvind, can you share your deck again?
Yes. 1 second.
Yeah, I think multiple windows are also open. So
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So thank you, Ravi, for giving the time. Please, the stage is yours.
Hey, hi, Loli. Thank you so much. Good evening. Arvind, thank you for your informative session regarding UiPath apps. That's really grateful and insightful. So thank you, everybody, the participants who are in the call. And, it's it's so happy that to see all of you in the call. So let me quickly tell you a brief about our company, Advanced. We are an US-based company. Predominantly, we are having into RPA, robotic process automation, and then into data analytics with a focus on AI. and machine learning. And we are in India, we are a limited company, listed company, BSE listed, and recently we started our regional headquarters in Riyadh. So today I want to take some opportunity to talk something on automation as a catalyst for the global transformation. So when we are looking at transformative role of across industries of enabling organizations to respond dynamically to real-time, changes and uncertainties. So with UI-based, UiPath, we are partners for the UiPath, and we have a very good experience working with the UiPath applications. We could see, the base workflows, businesses can now reconfigure processes on the go, which is essential for maintaining continuity even in, challenging environments. That is one of the major, findings we could find from our experience. So we found that, when using UiPath insights, we could able to identify and predict potential bottlenecks, and also ensure we would be able to able to adjust that adjustments can be done proactively before they cause disturbances or disruptions. So tools like UI process mapping and helps us make data informed informed decisions, and also we are able to maximize the automation process. And furthermore, by embedding automation across the organization through UiPath Studio X, we are enabling non-technical employees also to be contributing directly to the automation incentives or initiatives, and they're able to focus on and also scale innovation for the on an organization in a very high level. So we could move to the next slide.
Arvind?
So, when we were looking at, we have identified 4 areas where we can shift the focus to high value tasks. One is a strategic process reengineering. The other is unified automation framework and agile automation for fast market entry and automation first innovation. So when we are looking at automation is free up not only the valuable time and resources, so teams can focus on tasks that really add value to the business. Instead of just using RPA to handle routine tasks, we have strategical re-engineering processes. Using UiPath's insights, we shift from tactical fixes to long-term and strategic automation solutions. And by centralizing automation governance, we could be able to create a unified approach that brings all automation efforts under one roof and ensuring consistency and coherence. When we are looking at agile approach to automation, we speed up delivery to help businesses, our clients, and also we are able to move quickly and capitalize on market opportunities. This shift from task-based automation to an automation-first mindset is redefining how we approach work and efficiency. So human in the loop automation is another vital component, allowing critical human oversight where needed, while maximizing the efficiency of automated processes. We also use, UiPath Insights to track key performance indicators, KPIs, ensuring our automation efforts are always on track and aligned with our strategic goals and the business goals of our clients. So this result is a workforce that's ready for the future and organization that's strategically positioned for impactful growth. So if you could move to the third slide, I would like to add a little bit our experience on real-time project use case, which we did for one of our client. We work with EY, and it's our major client, and we are practically, we can apply to our automation expertise with one of our clients. We develop a modular framework using UiPath that allowed us to quickly generate and deploy test cases, because the system is actually looking out to automating the process of test automation. So they are having a consistent change in their master data, and they have approached, and we could be able to automate their test approach, test frameworks using UiPath. We implemented it through UiPath Orchestrator, and we could be able to do the smart scheduling to prioritize high impact test cases in real time, adapting to project demands, and we integrated automation directly into the CI/CD pipelines, which becomes a continuous integration process, providing feedback on issues. So this resulted 60% of reduction in their manual testing and about 40% faster test cycles. So this is our clear example, and we look forward serving our customers or clients, and also we are very much happy to help our associates who want to share in their career in the UiPath. Thank you so much, Lovely and Aravind, and also Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Ravi, for sharing the insights and giving us the real-time approach and how to work with the automation solutions and the different real-time case studies. So now I'll have so we have one more questions on how does error handling work in UiPath apps. So Arvind, question to you.
Yeah, so in error handling, every rules, I saw you right, there is an error occurs. So what you can do, you can write your rules, and then you can go on, you can store the data, you can store the errors, or you can go to the another page and you can show to the business users. So every rules when you are writing, there is a error catch handling rules. So on that part, you can capture your errors and you can show to the business users. Is it clear?
Lita, hope the question is answered. Okay. So anybody else who has a queries on the apps or getting started with the apps would like to know more insights on the apps, feel free to unmute yourself, and we have an Arvind who can help you understanding the insights and the queries as well.
Yeah, anybody want to share the feedback, or you are really facing any troubles, or you want to talk? We are happy to hear that.
Lovely, Arvind. First of all, thank you for this session. This is Sharaz here. Am I audible?
Thank you, Siraj. Yeah, we can hear you.
Chaz, how are
Uh,
you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Thank you. It's been a
Uh,
long time we met. Yeah. Sorry, please continue.
yeah, I have one small question. So, Arvind, what I have observed in one of the thing is like we have create time column is there, right? Like the inbuilt column which is there in every data service. So for one of our app, we try to display that create time in the grid. Okay. So the issue we are observing is that whatever time we have in the data service, that is correct. But when it comes to the grid, it is showing a different time zone. So do you have any solution for that, or is it something which is in progress with the UiPath?
Yeah, it is there into backlog. So what you can do now, I know it's a kind of frustration because it always show the browser-based login time. So the moment you say save that, browser get saved with date and time. So if you don't want to show the time, so what you can do, you can go into entity and you can create one more field, and then you can store without times, and then you can store only date, and then other things like we have already added a feedback and UiPath is in under consideration that they are going to enable a kind of a custom, you can say, stylings and custom, you can say, changing on the columns. So what you can do, you can go and write the expression for that particular date and time, and then you can bring into that particular format. So it is there under the, I can say, under considerations. It's already there since long time. But if you want immediately, you can create another fields without times, and you can just display on the front end side right now.
Understood. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Arvind. So the other suggestion which you have suggested, it is similar to the calculated column you are telling, right?
Exactly. So now, right now, you cannot do any stylings or any expressions on the column.
Expressions, right? Okay,
So
fine.
right
Got
now,
it.
we are going to enable it. So I mean, if you see other low-code applications, anything, you can go and
Mhm.
write the calculation, or you can just go and write the customizations over there. So that features are coming. So on that one, you can do kind of writing your custom expression, and you can bring the data as it is based on the columns.
Okay. Thank you, Arvind. Thank you all.
Welcome. Anyone else?
Hi Arvind, funny this side.
I am Akshay Chandra.
So as you said, like we can integrate with the workflows that we design the process, right? So is there any possibility like vice versa to trigger the automation based on the once the workflow is completed?
when the workflow is completed. So in
Yeah.
that, like you need to use attended mode, right? Because once you use attended, then what happens? Your process will be very slow. So
Hmm.
what you can do, the best approach will be like, I mean, you get a trigger from the apps and add a cube transaction, and then get completed the cube transaction, create another
Hmm.
queue, and then add the transactions over there, and then again bot will run and it will do whatever necessary is there for you, because we cannot hold front end users just to complete your workflow, right? Because that will not be an ideal case. So you can play based on the cube transaction. So you can, from the apps, you get all the transaction data, add into cube, and then complete your process, and then send either email or send based on the status. And then based on the status, also you can display into apps like this is completed, this is done, this is cancelled, and everything, right?
Okay. Good. Thanks for the session.
Any more questions? Maybe the last question. Okay. So since there are no questions, thank you so much, Arvind, for giving insights and helping our community members to understand on the apps. I have already shared the link for apps course, which is in the UiPath Academy. You can start with the apps and you can explore in the apps UiPath Academy itself. And also I have shared the link for the Dubai chapter, and feel free to connect to me and to in case if you have any recommendations, suggestions that you would like me to organize something in the UiPath Dubai chapter, then I'll be happy to connect with you and understand more. And soon we are going to have a meetup in person event as well in Dubai. So be connected to the chapter. uh, Keep enroll yourself in the Dubai chapter itself so that you receive all the communications about the events that is going to happen in Dubai. Okay, so then I think we can close. And thank you so much for joining. If there are no inputs, but yeah, I have already shared the LinkedIn URLs, so feel free to connect and happy to connect with you again.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Ravi. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Loli, Arvind.
Thank you.
Thank you all.